The Republic of Ireland have now warned the European Union that if Britain leaves on WTO terms at the end of December, not only the Irish economy will go down, but Euroscepticism in the European Union will rise in countries like France and Italy. So we have some MPs in Ireland who have now raised concerns with the executive to send a message to Brussels because they are now thinking that Boris Johnson's government are actually just playing games and they want to leave without a trade deal, which is kind of it's full of conspiracy theories, and we have absolutely no proof that this is what Boris wants. As far as we're concerned, Boris Johnson's team want a trade deal, but they don't want to be politically aligned to the European Union, which is fine. But the situation is now getting kind of ridiculous because Ireland are now so afraid of any possibility of a WTO Brexit that they said we have to get Britain to extend the transition, otherwise our economy will go down. So we have the latest article in the Daily Express talks about how the EU is now on edge as Boris Johnson's refusal to extend the Brexit transition will take its toll on the member states in the European Union. And they have now said that a number of MPs in Ireland have warned of an economic collapse across the EU if Britain refused Brussels' demand for an extension in light of the current problem. Now, some of them have been using a very, very aggressive language. Some of them are saying Armageddon is going to happen. The others are warning that it's not just about Ireland. The Euroscepticism in France, Italy, and other countries is actually on the rise. So we have to be careful about that situation. So this is one of the MPs in Ireland talking about the economic consequences. Let's watch the clip and we'll come back.
And the Department of Finance is expecting that gross domestic product will fall by 10.5% this year and that unemployment rate could hit 22%. A hard Brexit would be nothing short of Armageddon for the thousands of businesses already on life support. Therefore, Ireland must continue with contingency planning and seek EU support for vulnerable sectors. We must ensure that level playing field provisions remain a central tenet of the negotiations, push for a comprehensive free trade agreement that protects the all-Ireland economy, and ensure that the Protocol on Northern Ireland is implemented in full. There is much at stake and there is no time to lose.
Now, what these idiots don't understand is that they keep saying that we need Britain, Britain needs us, we need to cooperate, we need a proper comprehensive trade deal. At the same time, they keep pushing their kind of political alignment issues, the level playing field aspects of this agreement. You do know that the UK government and British people overall have mentioned so many times that we don't want any of that. So if you want to work with the UK, you have to just give us a simple trade deal. It's not going to work. Ideally, you want, both sides want a comprehensive future agreement, but the way the European Union is structured as a whole, they're protectionists. They wouldn't really work on the basis of a normal trade deal. Now, this is not really new because a while ago, this is according to Reuters, this is just before the UK officially stopped being a member. They said that despite the unity that Brexit has brought among the rest of the member states, there is a massive disunity and discontent that's appearing, posing questions for the future of a club struggling for answers to Euroscepticism. And they also have issues when it comes to the resurgent global powers like China and Russia, especially now. This is even more relevant than before with China coming back up. And again, this is an article that was published just before the Brexit happened. So they're talking about how Ursula von der Leyen was about to take charge of the Commission, and they were already criticizing her. And that was actually right. The predictions were completely correct because she hasn't been great so far. Her job was supposed to recover everything, all the damage that was done by Juncker and his team. And somehow she's even worse than Juncker, which is kind of an achievement for Ursula. And going back to the whole Irish question, because the European Trade Commissioner, Phil Hogan, who's also Irish, has been warning that there will be a massive disruption to the trade negotiations because of the current health crisis, and we have to force Boris Johnson to extend the transition. He has said that Boris's army of negotiators could be approaching the talks with a plan to deliberately leave the transition period without a deal. He said that despite the urgency and the enormity of the negotiating challenge, I am afraid that we are only making very slow progress in the Brexit negotiations. So again, he's talking about how Boris's team, David Frost and everyone, they don't actually want a trade deal. They just want to delay the whole situation until the UK leaves on WTO terms. What I believe is what they're trying to do Downing Street, because there's a lot of pressure, not just from the media side, but also ordinary people out there, Brexit voters out there, that the priority for the UK should be to leave the transition period at the end of December with or without a deal. That's a priority. What the European Union don't understand is that they think the priority should be for the UK to just cause disruption and leave. No, not really, because right now the British team are negotiating with the US, with South Korea, with various other countries, Australia, and we can't really have a trade deal if we extend the transition period. We can't globally trade with all these other countries, and there are a lot of trade experts who are also talking about how if we have to sacrifice the European project and trade with the EU, it's fine, because as long as we have big countries, big economies like the US, Australia, and others, then that's fine. We can still recover from that. And but these idiots don't get this. They're just sitting in their places in Brussels and without being in touch with society. They're not even concerned about what's happening in France, because at the moment, this is according to the Express, how Frexit is now rising. Frexit is obviously the French version of Brexit. They're now saying that the European Union is rocked as damning new polls show that the French Euroscepticism is now higher than in the UK. Now that's an achievement. Who would have thought? So we do have the latest numbers from this opinion poll. There's been a lot of polls actually. It's not just one. It's been quite consistent over the last few months. It's actually going higher and higher. Now, around 6 out of 10 in France who were questioned said that they don't trust Brussels, and this has jumped to 58%. A dramatic rise of 10 points since Emmanuel Macron's election as president. Just 32% of participants said that they could trust the EU, while the remaining 10% didn't express a judgment. So now that 10% is the same small chunk of the percentage that we had in the UK. The people who were in the middle, they didn't really have any opinion. They didn't realize that it actually affects their everyday lives, and they could be, if there was a swing, they could go either way. Some of them are still Eurosceptic, but they don't think that the EU is that bad. But that 10% actually matters. If one day there is some sort of referendum in France, it's all about that 10%. So, but the findings place France ahead of the United Kingdom as the country with the latest faith in the bloc's institutions. On average, just 47% of participants from across the bloc said that they couldn't trust the EU, while 43% do. Now, this isn't looking too good for the European project, and there's no wonder that when, even just before the Brexit vote was actually announced back in 2016, Switzerland had their application in place to join as a new member, as a full member, and like literally just before the vote, so it's not like Brexit had actually happened, they decided to reject the whole idea and withdraw their application, because they've actually, according to Switzerland, it's only lunatics will join the EU at this point. So they knew that before the actual Brexit process started, they knew that there's a reason that the Brits voted to leave the EU, and there's a reason that economically none of this makes any sense, because it's not necessarily just about the financial aspects of the EU, and we've been talking about this on this channel, how the financial bill, the divorce bill, which at first was supposed to be 100 million, then it came down, and then the UK government agreed to this 39 billion pounds, and we are pushing, a lot of activists out there are pushing the government to not pay that money if there's no trade deal, and only pay what's actually owed from our side. we should not be paying anything towards the new European projects, all the infrastructure that they're doing. It's idiotic. It's not our job. But it's not necessarily just the economic part of the EU that's idiotic. It's the on a societal level, on the whole unity level, because they say we're all a big family, yet they can't even control their own members during this health crisis. It's because the whole thing is not really about unity. The whole thing is about protectionism, and it's all going down anyway. So Ireland are now begging the EU, the Commission, to force Boris Johnson to get this extension sorted. Otherwise, their economy will go down, and the whole Euroscepticism will come back up. So it's getting quite interesting and edgy at this point. And by June, we'll find out more. And on this channel, we'll be covering all that for you guys. And so if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell next to it so you get notified. And when you click on the notification bell, make sure to click on all, not personalized, because it's pointless. You're not going to get notified. The YouTube algorithm is currently against us. They are bringing down the recommendations for political news. So you have to make sure you click on all so you get notified. And if you want to become a member and support this channel, then check out the link in the description or find the join button next to subscribe. Or you could just go on your browser and type in youtube.com/myitc/join. We have a daily show at 5:45 p.m. daily news show, and a vlog on a daily basis at 8 p.m. on MyITC. I'll see you guys in the next video.